Here, 20 races, and there are a phenomenal assortment of driving and engineering talents combined on this grid at Monza, ready for the start of another year of World Touring Car Championship racing. And the man they all chase sits on pole position. Andy Priaulx, the reigning World Touring Car Champion, only the second man in history to hold that title, will start his title defence at race 1 in Monza from pole position. The Guernseyman pulled a sensational lap out in qualifying, just picking up the toe exactly where he needed it at this Autodromo de Monza to claim the pole position. And it's a packed national circuit as well here at Monza, with the drivers in the autograph sessions this morning absolutely swamped. The crowds have been coming in since very early this morning. The morning mist has burnt off. It's a bright, warm, sunny day. The tantalising Italian lakes and mountains nearby have not stopped the fans coming out in numbers. And among those in the paddock, lots of racing faces from outside touring car racing and from inside as well. Fabrizio Giovanardi, the new Vauxhall driver for the British Touring Car Championship, here as an interested spectator at the venue, of course, that last year he was beginning his title campaign for Alfa Romeo, which in the end went to the final race, and he there came up short of the title. Well, he's now Vauxhall's lead driver in the British Touring Car Championship, and his place in the Alfa Romeo team has been taken by a young independent, and we will be talking a lot more about Salvatore Tavano throughout the season. Gianni Morbidelli joining the Alfa Romeo team in their three-strong lineup.
It's a good start, it's a good
Nord-Auto Alfas.
And for sure, generally at the front of the grid, it tends to be a little bit, whereas the middle of the grid pulls you back and you end up being involved in other people's accidents. So hopefully tomorrow we can get away and have just a good solid race with 3 or 4 cars. But my feeling is that when you look at the times, they're all so close that you could easily have a 10 or 15 car slipstream.
Andy Priaulx, the pole position man there, giving his opinion on what may well happen during the race. For most of qualifying, this man, a series debutant, Ivan Muller, was on pole position in his Seat. On only lap 2 of qualifying, he was towed round by James Thompson to the fastest time, and that lasted until about 2 minutes before the end, when Andy Priaulx was the only man to be able to go faster. One of 6, count them, 6 full factory Seat Leons in the championship. Ivan Muller, like James Thompson, being engineered by Hugues de Schonach's Oreca team. So during the free practice sessions, we sacrificed the second free practice to practice our slipstreaming techniques, because we know it's so important here in qualifying in the race. James gave me a great tow in qualifying, and then it was my turn to help him, but I had a serious vibration under the car, and the team insisted that we stayed in the pits till we found out what it was. And what it was the flat floor that the Seat Leon is running with this year. Unlike any of the other cars, it's got a full flat floor from the splitter right through to the rear axle to try and balance the fact that it creates the biggest amount of drag in the wind tunnel of any of the cars that are being raced here. Augusto Farfus Jr. looked for a front row starting position in his first race as the Alfa Romeo team leader here. He of course raced with Tarquini and Giovanardi last year, but this year he is the sole member of last year's outfit. He starts in 3rd place, and the man who came up 2nd in the championship last year and the year before in the European Championship, Dirk Muller, he starts on the outside of row 2. Another new E90 shaped BMW M3, the 320 SI it's called. The new E90 body shell, of course, is the current production car, and so the older car has been superseded by the new machines. They're heavier, but to counteract that, they've got a wider track, better for racing, better able to handle the curbs. But the team have had to work very hard over the winter to try and cut the extra 20 kilos out of them to get right down to the minimum weight limit. 5th quickest, his very best ever World Touring Car Championship qualifying, Alex Zanardi. He was very, very happy indeed after qualifying. Well, the new BMW is 50% stiffer than the car that preceded it. Aerodynamic efficiency is also improved, courtesy predominantly of the road cars being more aerodynamically efficient as well. And Zanardi's car has got a new state-of-the-art hand control system. Alex Zanardi, as everybody knows, lost both his legs in a near-fatal accident in a Champ car 5 years ago, but he still uses his leg to brake. All the other controls, though, including, of course, the independent gear change, the throttle most particularly, the hand control system. The new throttle gives him even better response, even better acceleration out of turns, using the ring behind the steering. Using his prosthetic leg, he still can exert the braking force he needs to control the brake. It's got a lighter system, and he has also got a clutch and gear change system linked together, and you'll see those in operation from his onboard camera. So cars on the grid then, and a wide variety of factory prepared cars and independent cars. 7 Alphas, 12 BMWs, 10 Seats, 3 factory Chevrolets, 2 Hondas and a Peugeot. Independents and factory cars. And David Leslie, new names, new associations, changes of drivers and engineers between teams. It's a real melting pot over the winter. Now the grid is sort of solidified and everybody's found a seat, most to sit in at least. But what it offers, I think, is an even more exciting prospect than we've seen over the last 3 or 4 years of top-flight touring car action.
It's very exciting. You've got so many really good drivers and so many works cars that you've just got no idea who's actually going to win one of these races. There are so many people capable, and you've got Alex Zanardi right up there. He's 5th place on the grid, and he's already won one World Championship race. He's at home in Italy.
At home in Italy, he is. Here are 2 foreigners, one who raced for Alfa, one who raced for BMW last year. Dirk Muller still at BMW, James Thompson now a Seat driver. And we asked them to tell us the key points about the Monza track.
I'm James Thompson, I'm with Seat Sport this year, and this is Dirk Muller with BMW Team Germany. Fantastic start to the season last year, Dirk. Pole position, won the first race. A special moment for you, Dirk.
Yes, thank you very much. I mean, if you remember, we had a really good first race here, and tough fighting for the victory, and especially in this chicane, you know, we were really door by door, mirror by mirror, and I think both of us went straight to through the grass and made the finish.
We're here at the famous first chicane at the Monza circuit, and technically, Dirk, talk us through it.
Okay, for me, this is a very important chicane actually. It looks very simple and easy, but you have a long straight thinking about braking later than you used to. So it's not so easy to get the right point of the chicane and entering. Then, you know, coming into the first corner, you like to hit the curbing over there, but that is a big opportunity, because obviously each lap you're bit late braking and turning in. Then we come here, we see this lovely curbing over here. It's very bumpy, like you see, and here it's really important to be early on throttle, to take the speed out of it, and to carry the speed on the next straight, where you can also gain a lot of time. Okay, James, we arrived here at the second chicane in Monza, and please tell us what is so important about this chicane.
Well, this chicane technically is very difficult, because as you can probably see, it's very aggressive. It's a real bone cruncher, because you need the car to be able to to be able to take as much curb as possible, because it's very important to cheat as much curb as you possibly can and make the second part of the chicane easier, because you have a very long run down to Lesmo 1. We're here at the fantastic Parabolica. Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, Parabolica as himself is very easy. I mean, it's just a right-hander, but you can make a lot of mistakes. Meaning you can arrive with a high speed, and you miss the braking or you miss the turn-in, and then you miss you're actually running time and running lap, and you will miss definitely the next lap, because you're too late on throttle, and you really need a lot of acceleration and early acceleration for this damn long straight over here.
That's how they see it then. James Thompson, any more of those TV presenting jobs? I'm on the phone to Jaime Puig to ask for a drive. James Thompson, Dirk Muller talking us around the critical areas of this circuit. And of course, that doesn't even take into account the Ascari chicane. Eduardo Freitas, our clerk of the course, our chief steward, flagging the field away. And it'll be his responsibility primarily to ensure that good driving standards are upheld right from the start of this championship. Last year, we had such close racing here at Monza, so many drivers desperate to try and make their mark. In the end, Dirk Muller, pole position, won race 1. James Thompson won race 2. A great start to the season for Alfa Romeo for him. Wouldn't he like to be able to finish in the top 8 in race 1 and then be at the front for race 2 and maybe win on his debut for new team Seat? 2 World Championship seasons started with a win. I think many drivers could ask for more. Well, Dirk Muller, David Leslie was on pole position in the first race last year and won for BMW. And Andy Prio's game plan from pole, with a car that starts quicker than the second and third place cars, the rear-wheel drive BMW, has got to be to get away, because if he's in front but giving a tow to this huge long line of cars, then it's daggers drawn, it's a knockdown, drag-out fight to the end, and the man in front so often loses out at Monza.
It's going to be very difficult for him to do that with all these drivers out there, also very, very close as well. You have to remember that about 15 of them within 1 second of each other at the, qualifying on this long circuit here at Monza. There really is going to be very difficult to get away from anybody. You need someone to make a mistake or get involved with somebody else to give you a break in order that you can try and pull away. And I can't see that happening, not with these guys at the front. These guys at the front all want to win this championship, so they need to finish. To finish first, they need to score the points. And that's what they're after. They need to make sure they get into the top 8, score those points, and keep trying to score them in the second race as well. So having accidents is always a bad idea at the first corner.
Looking down the grid, couple of changes. Luca Rangoni there, 18th on the lineup, but he will start further back down because he had an engine change after qualifying. That cost you 10 grid places. He'll get away 28th. Ryan Sharp there, his first ever touring car race. He's now had a total of nearly 20 laps in a front-wheel drive car. Impressed to see him 23rd. Irish driver Emmett O'Brien in his first World Touring Car race, starting in 28th position. Down towards the end, Roberto Colciago, a late entry into the Seat Sport Italia number 58 car. An engine change for him after qualifying as well, dropped him down to the penultimate place on the grid. But last of all is poor Seat driver Peter Terting. He will start 36th and last because his engine let go on the outlap in qualifying. He didn't set a time at all. There is Bart Mampai, the boss of the RBM team that runs the BMW Team UK entry for Andy Prio. And for Prio and Mampai, they know they are marked men. They won the European Touring Car Championship 2004. Worse than that, they won the World Touring Car Championship 2005. A small private run team with the BMW Team UK sponsorship. They have got full factory built BMWs, but they are the ones that everybody is out to get. And Prio starts his title defence as world champion for Great Britain on the front. Car Championship. Andy Priaulx on pole position, ready to get this thing underway. Ivan Muller alongside. 5 seconds until the season is underway. Augusto Farfus, Dirk Muller and Alex Zanardi behind. The BMWs start quickly, but Ivan Muller's made an electrifying getaway in the Seat. He'll be ahead of Dirk Muller as Andy Priaulx leads the charge down to the first corner. 36 cars in the World Touring Car Championship. Ivan Muller will hold second place. Somebody to Alfa must make contact. That's the 15 car of Augusto Farfus across the grass. Jörg Muller and Tom Coronel, and the bonnet is up on Augusto Farfus' car. It looks like he's out of the race already as Priaulx and Muller head them around Curva Grande down into the Rivazza. It's the 50, it's Tavano, Salvatore Tavano, car number 18, the independent, who's now a full factory Alfa driver, has run heavily into the back of somebody and on the grass as well. One of the new E90 BMWs. They are so hard to tell apart. I'm thinking it may be Jörg Muller again. If he went off once, it looks like he may have been involved with Salvatore Tavano. So there is Jörg Muller. He's certainly been off once. There is Costa in the Spanish-entered Ravaglia car. And there, one of the two Yas Sport Hondas, the Monroe-coloured cars, rushing down towards the Variante Ascari. Andy Priaulx leads from Ivan Muller, Dirk Muller, and then the second of the Seats, that's James Thompson, on board with Dirk Muller in the BMW in third place. Look in the mirror, you saw Thompson pulling out. There's Thompson having a little look. No, in fact, behind him, the green strips on the top of the windows, that's Tarquini trying to get past Alex Zanardi. The two Italians wheel to wheel further back behind Augusto Farfus, who's in fifth. The battle for sixth, Zanardi on the inside, Tarquini on the outside, then Rydell, then Costa, the second Ravaglia BMW Italia Spain car. And as they rush towards the line, it's Priaulx from two of the three Mullers now. How many more can there be out there? Larini leading Rob Huff across the line, but it's Aluminiu who's the top Chevrolet, and Dirk Muller shaping up to try and get the toe from Ivan Muller. Ivan Muller moves over once, he stays there. There's a little rub. Dirk's got the inside line. The BMW outbreaks the Seat. The Leon moves down to third, the BMW up to second. Last year's opening race winner is now in second place, and in front of him just Andy Priaulx. David Leslie, a dramatic opening lap.
That was very good indeed. Unfortunately, we've lost Jörg Muller. He's the one that seemed to have disappeared with the BMW we've seen going off. He went right across the start of the first chicane. We think that's when he had her coming together with Tavano with the Alfa Romeo, but now up into second place is Dirk Muller, and down into one place is Ivan Muller. Now Ivan says they've got very good.
Let's have a look here. Banged up in the air has gone Tavano, who came round. No, that was Farfus. That's where the damage to the back of Farfus' car happened. This is Farfus. Bam! That was Tavano. Dramatic stuff. Car number 3 was Rickard Rydell. He had to take avoiding action, and look at that rub against Zanardi. The rear view from Farfus. I tell you what, that boy is not giving anyone an inch. So Dirk Muller now giving the toe away. Andy Priaulx almost clear enough on the run up to the Variante Ascari, David, to avoid giving too much of a toe. Muller was towing the fourth place car, Thompson. And there is Rob Huff. The red and white car is our top independent BMW. That's Emanuele Naspetti, the ex-Grand Prix ace, who is buying himself a drive in this championship. Not any time, he says, left to be a full-time driver. He's too busy running the family trucking business, but he wants to race this series, and so he is as an independent in that red and white BMW. But the top independent was the orange car of Tom Coronel, the Seat Holland car run by GR Asia. Dirk Muller with Jörg Muller, and that is the nose of Tavano's car. Very quick in practice, but he doesn't seem to have packed his luck in his kit bag this morning. Priaulx across the line, 0.9 ahead, another 0.2 of a second, and he'll not be giving a toe to Dirk Muller. Muller under pressure from Muller behind him, Ivan Muller, and Tomo's right there as well, who, don't forget, won a race at Monza last season as well. Then you've got Augusto Farfus ahead of Ricard, looking back from, that's Tarquini in fact, looking back from Farfus' car. You can see the flapping bumper there just above our rear-facing camera. It's Tarquini in 6th position. 7th place is Alex Zanardi, 8th Ricard Rydell, 9th Gianni Morbidelli in the Auto Delta Alpha, and 10th is Manuel Costa, the new kid on the block from Spain, in Roberto Ravaglia's 2nd car in the BMW Italia Spain effort. So he's having a really good start to his season. And there he is. Oh, and Roberto Colciago, who started on the back, and Jens Edman in the sexy Peugeot 407. And Colciago's car is a light. That's a very heavy impact, and that's got to mean a safety car. You can't allow cars to burn on the track, even if the marshals are there. Surely they're going to have to scramble the safety car. We are 2 laps into the race, 6 after this to go, so it shouldn't interrupt the race too much. But Andy Prio's hard work, all to no avail. Yellow flag and safety car board is out, so no more overtaking. Safety car board has been shown. Dirk Muller just kept his nose vitally in front of Ivan Muller there. I can see the safety car board at the chicane there, and surely the drivers will be able to as well. Prio has now brought the pace right back down. Breathing room for the Schnitzer mechanic. Jörg Muller looks like he got damaged right front suspension on his car. If they can fix it and get it onto the track before the end of the race, then they'll have lots more time, well, an extra 10 minutes between the races, as everybody does, for re-preparation. Monica Sips breathes easy again, but already, unfortunately, one of her young stars is looking like it's going to be very tough work to get into the second race. Jens Edman's car doesn't look badly damaged, David, but certainly Roberto Colciago's was, and it was well ablaze at the front.
Yeah, that car looked very, very badly damaged. Not sure whether they ran into the back of the Peugeot, or whether somebody ran into something else, having cannoned off the Peugeot, or whatever happened. But Colciago has really been in the wars this weekend. He really got in trouble with the officials by corner cutting earlier on in the practice and qualifying. He had to go and see the stewards twice during the weekend because of problems. But there we see the 2 cars off together. We're not sure how connected they are, whether it's in the same accidents or not.
That's the exit of Ascari. He's gone straight on into the barriers on the left and then bounced back into the track, hasn't he, Colciago? Looking back, this is earlier on. That is Tarquini. We're looking back from Augusto Farfus' car. And there is Colciago. It's not the exit to Ascari at all.
Somewhere around the Lesmos.
So he has, I would imagine, being maybe tweaked from behind by the Peugeot and snapped left hard into the barriers, whatever. He's hit the barriers hard on the left or on the right and bounced into the road. And the fire will have been the fuel and oil lines spilling onto the exhaust in the shattered front end. Luckily, the fuel tank is considerably further back in the car, where you'd expect to find it in a road car, behind the passenger compartment and isolated from the passenger compartment as well. But that's going to take a while to drag away, because it is on the sump rather than on the wheels.
It really needs a tow. Even the back wheel is right up into the bodywork. There really is a problem with that car, but that's allowing a bit more time for everyone to get their cars fixed. Obviously a tracking problem with the BMW here. They put in the tracking gauges on the front of this car. They'll mount straight on to get a dead square line, and then they'll put a little fishing wire between the back and the front to try and line the wheels up and see what's wrong with it. There's obviously a problem with that BMW, but they've got a few minutes to try and fix that before the end of this race, and then Pat Femi takes hold. But those guys that managed to get away, the half dozen at the front, that managed to put a little bit of space between themselves and the rest. Unfortunately, they've lost all that now, and Andy Prio had a little bit of a breather, now doesn't, so he's now got everybody right behind him, and that's how it'll restart when the green flag comes.
Lap 3 of the opening race in the FIA World Touring Car Championship at Monza. We're under safety car conditions after Roberto Colciago's Seat Sport Italia Toledo slammed off the barriers in the Lesmos and briefly caught fire in the middle of the track. And there you can see the onboard of Dirk Muller on the left and his wife on the right. Just spotted that she's on the TV. Slight delay there in the transmission down from the satellites to the pits. That's why we spotted her before she knew we were watching her. And watching her husband there in second place. And of course, Dirk became a father last year. Andy Prio's wife Jo there. Kids are at home in Guernsey with mum and dad, or granny and grandpa, I guess it is. Andy's mum and dad, or Jo's mum and dad. And she is here with a few of the friends of the family of Jo and Andy, and old-time hill climbing friends as well here at Monza, enjoying this title defence. And David Leslie, last year it wasn't really a title defence. He'd won the European title in 2004, but now it was all about the World Championship. It was really starting from scratch. This year he is the world champion, trying to hang on to that. And I wonder whether maybe there's just a little bit more pressure now defending it than there was trying to go out and win it for the first time.
It's a world championship. Whichever way you look at it, there's always going to be pressure wherever the world championship is concerned. And these guys out there, and as we said earlier on, with 15 cars all within 1 second of each other at the start of this race after qualifying, then any one of those cars are quite capable of winning. And there's such a variety of people, very, very good drivers indeed, all there, all wanting to be world champion, all wanting to say to their manufacturers, look, I'm the best guy out here, you're the guy, you need to sign me up for the next 5 years. So they're all out there. At the moment you can see them weaving around trying to put heat in, or keep heat in their tyres. They don't want to lose the heat that was in there after the first couple of laps, so that when it turns green again they'll be able to carry on at full pace, because there's no half terms with these guys. They are flat out all the time. But there was the first corner incident. We've seen one of the Seats, the number 3 car, that was Rickard Rydell there going across the grass to try and miss the Tevano Farfus incident. And you can just see off the start line how hectic it is.
We'll be back live from Monza after the... Racing suspended here at Monza, and the race, we've now been told, will be 11 laps long. Safety car laps will not count. Now, David Leslie, you were in with the GR Asia boys yesterday. I was noting out the weight of fuel that they had decided they needed to put in the car. 1.3 kilos of fuel per lap, times 9 laps, +1, +2 for the FIA mandated minimum amount that allows 2 samples to be taken, +1 lap for safety. 26 kilos of fuel went in. Now, obviously, 2 extra racing laps would cost them a lot more fuel. Is there going to be possibly a problem with people not having put enough for 2 or 3 extra laps behind the safety car into their cars?
If the organisers have decided not to count these laps as race laps and give an extra 2 laps, then that must be in the regulations somewhere. So the teams must have the ability to say there may be a pace car, therefore we may need 3 laps more or 2 laps more. So they will have to put that extra fuel in. You cannot go into a race of a World Championship standing and not have a proper set of regulations, or suddenly have them change in the middle of a race and have people running out of fuel. That just simply cannot happen.
Well, exactly. What if there's barriers repairs and there's 7 laps behind the safety car? Anyway, let's see how the race develops. They have got a green flag now. The safety car has pulled off. Andy Prio, Dirk Muller, Jörg Muller, James Thompson, Augusto Farfus, they're the top 5. But look at Farfus in the middle of the 2 Seats, looking to make a move, get away from Tarquini and Zanardi behind him, as Andy Prio takes off like a scalded cat. And Dirk Muller in the second BMW with his mirrors full of Jörg Muller's Seat Leon. 4th place Tarquini, Augusto Farfus. That's a great move from Zanardi. Farfus shows it. Zanardi dived in front of James Thompson. That's a very good move from Alex Zanardi. 2 years ago he spent the season sorting out the controls on the car. Last year he was racing for positions and won a race. This year he's racing for the championship. He's a genuine contender. No, Thompson is there behind Jörg Muller. That was taking a place back from Tarquini, who got alongside him under braking. So I'm getting too excited already in the season, and we're only 6 laps in. So 5 laps completed and 6 to go in this 9-lap race, which is now 11 after 2 laps behind the safety car. But David Leslie, phenomenal restart from Prio, and look behind, Zanardi having to cut across to the grass to keep Tarquini behind him. The full width of the circuit being used by the Italian duo as we watch Dirk Muller hold off Jörg Muller, the 2 Italians side by side behind them, and that is the battle for 6th place.
And that battle now was sort of splitting them away from the front group, and the battle between Tarquini and Zanardi really is holding up this next group. And oh, that was Rydell, touched the back of Zanardi, giving a bit of a wall up in there. And don't forget, further back is the Morbidelli with the second Alfa Romeo that's still running in the race as well.
Tarquini held up trying to get by Zanardi, and whoop, as soon as the door was open, no love lost. Ricard Rydell straight down the inside of his teammate. Thank you very much, I'm having that. Don't forget, there are 6 factory Seat Leons, 6 factory drivers, and all of them want to be number 1. First race, I'll tell you what, there's no team orders, there's very little going to be gentlemen's agreements either. They're all going for it. You see Farfus there in 5th, this is the queue for 2nd. Dirk Muller, Jörg Muller and James Thompson, the Seat Leons. Farfus in the Alfa Romeo. Look at him closing. He's in a position to make something of this under braking because he's getting a tow, David, from all 3 cars in front of him. Guy at the back makes up most ground in that situation.
That's right, and what's happening now, I don't know what happened at the restart, but Muller must have been asleep because Andy Prio did get the jump, certainly when they turned green, and he got himself a nice little gap coming out of the straight, which, you know, Dirk really shouldn't have allowed him to do, but somehow or another he has. So Andy's got himself away, and Dirk's now really having to try and hold back these other 3 cars.
I think there's a change for 6. Yes, there is. That's Rydell has got by alongside Zanardi. Well, Zanardi's fighting back. Look on the exit. Look on behind them, rather. Rydell did get through in the first chicane and holds it at the Roger, and now Tarquini's all over Zanardi, and Zanardi compromised into the Roger. Tarquini will have a run of him through the forest of the Royal Park here as they get to the Lesmos. Didn't get through before Lesmo 1. Between the Lesmos is a good passing place. Tarquini knows it, but he knows the danger there as well. Morbidelli with Costa behind him in 10th, and Rob Huff, the best of the Chevrolets, in 11th. Look at that. What a great queue of cars. There's Rob Huff, another set behind him, Jorge Hene, then Alain Menu, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 independent cars before Peter Turting in the last of the factory Seat Leons. Tarquini with Zanardi in front of him, and Rydell just starting to make a break as they get onto the straight, and Tarquini's perfectly placed to tow Zanardi down the straight as they come up towards the Parabolica.
And you can see there Tarquini diving out from behind, trying to go round outside. Very difficult to do that. You really need to make that move much earlier if you're going to try and do that coming down into the Parabolica. But Tarquini, I think he feels is being held up a little bit by Zanardi at the moment, would like to get past. And talking to the Seat drivers earlier in the weekend, they were saying just how good their car is under braking. And I was thinking that maybe Van Muller here, who's in 3rd place, his opportunity to try and get past Dirk at some point is to try and outbrake him. Difficult along the straights. We spoke to the Seat guys. They said even if they come out behind the BMWs onto the straights, they find it really difficult to hang on to the back of them. Never mind getting a slipstream and pulling up behind them. The BMW is so quick in a straight line that they really do struggle hanging on to them. But they were convinced that their brakes were so much better than what the BMWs were, and that was where they were looking to try and get past them.
Well, it's interesting, isn't it? The front-wheel drive Seat Leon, they feel has got... Oh, and Rob Huff, the top Chevy, has been spun round. Whether he lost it under braking or got nudged, I'm not sure. Let's have a look. Hard to tell. Alain Menu was right behind him, his teammate. Don't think that'll go down too well in the Huff camp. 1.5 stones lighter he is at the beginning of this season than when he finished last year, David. He is deadly serious in his efforts to try and help the Chevrolet team work themselves further up the grid. One of the factors of this new BMW, David, is that it is down on power to last year's cars. The Schnitzer engineers were telling us last year the 6-cylinder engine had 500 extra RPM over the 4 cylinders that most of the others were running, and they reckon was producing 290, so you can assume 295 horsepower because they're always conservative. Now it's quoted at 275, so they're 15 horsepower down, probably a little bit more than they were last year on last year's engine. The car handles better, it's got a better chassis, they're saying, better control over the curbs here, but they still are working back home in Munich to get those extra ponies back from the dyno, and that's part of the reason why the Seat is able to stay right with them. But the Seat has really come on, because you can see Farfus in the Alfa. Previously the Alfas would have been the pace setters here at Monza, and yet he is only just staying with the Seats. And Ivan Muller using that excellent Seat handling through the Parabolica. Now let's see how the drag race works. Look, they flash under the shadow of the bridge there at the same time. Let's give them over 1/4 mile of foot to the floor racing and see how it works. Jaime Puig, the tall figure at the back there, and look at that, no tow and he's holding the BMW on power and drives by on power. That was a great effort by Ivan Muller, and you can see how the SEAT guys applaud that one.
The SEAT guys really are very pleased with their car. They know this is the most difficult circuit for them. One of the advantages they've been given is they're allowed a flat floor, and the flat floor really comes into its own on long fast straights, and that's the thing that's helping them here at Monza in actual fact. So with BMW having a completely new car with a very, very different engine going from a 6-cylinder to a 4-cylinder, they really are starting from scratch with that car, but still doing very well. They won the championship last year. They are still leading this race with Andy Priaulx this year. But everybody else has been getting faster and faster. SEAT have been getting faster. They've been well organised with their car. They've got a couple of little bits and pieces on it to try and help them a little bit. And one of them is to try and help the high-speed stuff. That obviously worked there. They got very good handling. They've always had good handling. They were last year when it come to the tighter circuits. They were really there. They seem to have some good downforce. But have a drag race along this straight, here we see it again, into that first corner, into that first chicane. Fantastic job by the SEAT boys. But right behind there is James Thompson. He now wants that position as well, so he'll want to be right with his teammate Ivan Muller, and they want to be there second and third. But further back we see one of the Morbidelli with the other works, Alfa Romeo, getting spun around in one of the corners.
He was punted off in the Roggia. There are yellow flags out in the Roggia. Car 16 has stopped at the exit of turn 5, and I think that is the that won't be the second that's the second Lesmo. So on the run down to the Variante Ascari, Morbidelli's finally pulled off. James Thompson, as you say, David, right with Dirk Muller, and Dirk's car looking maybe a little tail happy in this configuration. Certainly seemed to be just having the edge of a power slide going on. Another new factor we haven't talked about in the race so far, a new control tyre for everybody to learn from scratch. The Advan Yokohama replaces last year's Michelin control tyre, and they haven't raced on it yet. So although they've done testing, it's a new factor, how hard you can push it, how long it lasts if you really run it hard. Rob Huff rejoining the race behind the lead group, a lap down from the pit. And further back as well, let's talk about the independents. Alessandro Balzan, the top independent, now up to 9th from 12th. I think it might possibly be him that got into Morbidelli. Pierre-Yves Courtel second. Stefano Daste's BMW third in the independents, and Emmett O'Brien, who was third, the Irish driver, has just gone missing. He's dropped down the order, so he's had a problem. He's in the pits. Ryan Sharp, 19th place. He's 5th in the independent category. The ex-single-seater star from Scotland, who is now making his first ever touring car race start. I think he had less than 20 laps before the start of the race in total touring car experience, never mind front-wheel drive or anything else. So he's really finding it a baptism of fire, and he's in the middle of a very tight-knit battle, just like this one, all the way through the field. This kind of image is being repeated for the fans.
They can see how hard these guys are trying, because every corner they come to, they use every inch of the tarmac. They're starting off in the white line before they turn in. They turn in, they run over the curb as much of it as possible. They've got good suspension to be able to try and soak up that curb, and as they come out, you'll see from the rear, as they come out, they're right over the curb, right over the white line, to try and use every inch, and they do that on every single lap. Now, when we watch some of the races earlier on today, they do it now and again, and maybe sometimes they use it. These guys are professionals. They're right on the limit, and they're on the limit all the time. And there's Thompson having another go at the back, and now we've got Rydell, who's caught up to the back of Farfus. Rydell has come from behind and caught this group up, and there he is now, right on behind. And not far behind Rydell is Tarquini. These SEATs are all up there. They didn't reckon this was going to be their circuit, and that looks like going past there's that Thompson. Oh, they're coming together. Bit of a touch there, going up a straight. Muller wasn't wanting him to come past, and he's having another go at him. Thompson trying to keep out of his way, so it's a big outbraking manoeuvre. Who's going to outbrake who? Who's going to lock up? Nobody. These guys are professionals. Into the corner he goes. Out comes Thompson, taking third place away from the BMW. Muller will not be happy about that. Dirk will be very upset indeed.
Well, again, as when he was passed by Ivan Muller, Dirk Muller moved over once to try and position Tomo, so he was running as the track narrows towards the grass. Tomo held his line on the inside, and these SEATs, they're not wrong about the brakes. On the inside line into the chicane, they can outbrake the BMW, and there's Rickard Rydell having a look at Augusto Farfus, but saw the yellow flags in time and backed out of it. But is Rydell with Tarquini and Zanardi now right behind Farfus. I wonder whether the Alfa's unique front suspension geometry is starting to pay or to take its toll on the tyres. Still dragging that bumper from the first lap thump. Don't forget, he got in the backside. He was bounced up in the air, wasn't he, by his teammate Salvatore Tavano.
I think that's one of the biggest problems. That bumper flapping around at the back of that Alfa Romeo, and it's like a parachute out the back of that car, and that parachute slowing him down on the straight line. So he's dropped away from the first four and a little bit of space, and then the other three have now caught him. So Farfus is going to have a real hard time to try and hang on to the back of these cars, because these two Seats and the BMW of Zanardi are really going to be over the top. But Zanardi again coming out of the Ascari chicane.
The flash of it, right, Alfa Romeo, that's Alessandro Balzan, the top independent, in 9th place with Alain Menou's factory Chevrolet all over the back of him. 0.3 apart at the line. They certainly weren't that. As the checkered flag waves for Andy Priaulx, it looked easy. I'm sure it didn't feel easy. Is Ivan Muller and James Thompson second and third, Dirk Muller fourth, two further Seats, Tarquini and Rydell ahead of Zanardi, Augusto Farfus eighth, Alessandro Balzan ninth. Top place for the Chevrolets is Alain Menu in 10th, then Costa's BMW, Hane and Terting in the factory Seats. Terting from the last place on the grid, 36 to 13th. Blimey, what did he have for breakfast? Then Stefano D'Aste, Luca Rangoni, Simone Iaconi, Romagnoli's Alfa, Ryan Sharp 18th from him in his Yasport Honda in the first race for him. Rob Huff 19th despite stopping in the pits, and then Romanini, Yanak, Pierre-Yves Courtals, Giuseppe Roda, Valli, Cerasoli, Emmett O'Brien, Nicola Larini 2 laps down. Didn't see him in the pits, didn't see why he was in the pits, but he clearly has had a problem. Emmett O'Brien's race finishes in the pits. The Irish driver having a very good start to the race. The last 3 laps he could probably have done without, but Joe Priaulx and Seat boss Jaime Puig very happy with that. Andy Priaulx, our race winner. Jaime Puig congratulated by his colleagues from Spain there, and a very strong start to the Seat factory season. 2nd, 3rd, 5th and 6th. Only 2 pesky BMWs getting in the way of a Seat yellow, blue, Dayglow green and red wash. And Andy Priaulx it is who wins the opening race, and of course with pole position he had the very best chance of claiming win number 1 of the season. Don't forget, last year, his championship winning year, he only won 1 race all year. It was Dirk Muller who won the opening race and then finished strongly in race 2 behind James Thompson to lead the championship away from Monza. He was only headed twice all year before the final results came in after Macau, but it was Andy Priaulx that came out on top in the Far East. Priaulx now starts his title defence, a pole, a win. Could he have asked for more? If somebody had said to him, Andy, you're going to win from pole by 3.5 seconds, he'd have said, are you mad? I'll take it though, no matter what it costs. A great start to the season for him, and now a chance for the teams to take a look at the cars, refettle them, get the new tyres on, and get ready for race 2. Stay with us here at Monza. We've got lots more action yet to come. Andy Priaulx victorious in the opening World Touring Car race of his title defence. Ivan Muller in 2nd place and James Thompson in 3rd place. And that is a huge bonus for Hugues de Schonach's Oreca team that run Thompson and Muller as part of the 6-strong factory Seat lineup. But it's the Guernseyman that wins, the small RBM team for BMW Team UK. He gets congratulated by his mechanics, by the Schnitzer boys, by everybody out there. A very well taken win. He wasn't pushed that hard. He made a fantastic restart from behind the safety car, and from there on in, Well, it was hardly cruising, but at least he wasn't having to battle everybody under braking. Inch perfect all the way for the roadways driver. That's a fantastic effort by Andy Priaulx, and I'm sure Dad Graham will be watching at home in Guernsey, if the kids are giving him a chance at any rate. Like his dad, Andy Priaulx, British hill climb champion at the start of his career. Took a very unusual path into top flight motorsport, but it has certainly paid off for him. And David Leslie, just the kind of result that everybody at Bracknell wanted. BMW Team UK couldn't possibly be more delighted with a start like that.
No, it's an absolutely fantastic start for them, so very, very pleased indeed. But Andy's dad, I actually spoke to him yesterday in the pit lane, so
he's not at home.
He's not at home. He's actually here watching, and he really is a very proud dad indeed when I spoke to him yesterday.
Certainly should be, and anybody involved in the SEAT factory operation has got to be very, very impressed as well. 6 cars, 4 of them in the top 6 places. So Alex Zanardi as well, 7th place, Augusto Farfus 8th, the top Alfa Romeo, and maybe things are just a little different to how they were with the full Alfa factory backing. And as Andy heads off there, wife Jo chasing up after him. Congratulations there from the red-faced fellow Brit, Tomo, looking like he really worked hard in that race, and Ivan Muller as well. Boys, your hair's down below the collar. Go and get a haircut. Ivan Muller 2nd, James Thompson 3rd, will join Andy Priaulx on the podium at the end of race 1. 2 races to each race weekend, of course, and the top 8 from race 1 start in reversed order on the grid. And Priaulx, who started from pole position here at Monza in race 1 of the 2006 FIA World Touring Car Championship. But with BMW, Alfa Romeo, Seat, Chevrolet, Honda and Peugeot in the field, it was never going to be an easy one to predict. Safe money might have been on the pole position man, but how often doesn't it happen that way? Incident and accident, close, aggressive racing, and a fantastic result in the end for BMW Team UK as Andy Priaulx came out on top. So fantastic effort then from Andy Priaulx and BMW Team UK for the RBM crew. Cars now in the garage, in effectively Parc Fermé, not allowed to be touched by their mechanics or not allowed to be worked on by their mechanics. And there are a number who will need some work that didn't finish the first race either. Among them, down at the bottom of the timesheets, of course, we saw dramatically Jörg Muller's car off and then in the pits being worked on. He did finish the race 2 laps down, but lost to the race. Gianni Morbidelli, Emanuele Naspetti, Tom Coronel, Jens Edman, Roberto Colciago's car we saw crumpled and a light that surely won't restart. Salvatore Tavano's first corner shunt stove in the nose of his car. I wonder what the N Technology mechanics will be able to do with that. And the 52 car as well of privateer Elio Marchetti, his Alfa Romeo was a victim on lap 1, so not quite sure what the state of that is either. And work 2 for Emmett O'Brien's crew, the Veachers Sport team, as Jo Priaulx will get a chance to bask in the sunshine and wait for her husband Andy to come out onto the podium. The mechanics will assess what needs doing. They have 10 minutes, no more, to do whatever needs doing to the cars during the Parc Fermé. And then, of course, they will head back out onto the grid for race 2, as they finished race 1, with the exception of the top 8. David Leslie, the man who was in front, will go back to 8th on the reversed grid, and the man who is 8th, Augusto Farfus, will start from pole position. Now, given pole, I wonder whether Farfus can take the Alfa to a first race victory. It's what James Thompson managed last year.
If you look at what happened on the first race, I'd have to say no, because Farfus did get a lot of wheel spin off that start line. He made a very poor start compared to the rest of them. Ivan Muller with the Seat made a fantastic start and kept himself in front of Dirk Muller at the time. So I think Farfus might struggle, because right beside him on the grid, remember, is Zanardi with the BMW, and we know the BMWs with rear-wheel drive do really launch themselves off the start, and they're going to be very difficult to beat to the first corner. So I think my money's on Zanardi for the first corner, and then you've got 3 front-wheel drive cars. You've got Farfus, Tarquini and Rydell next up. and whether they can stay ahead of Dirk Muller and Andy Prio, I'm not 100% sure, but we'll see what happens when we get to the first corner.
Well, I tell you what, under braking into the first corner, certainly the Seats have got a very strong car there. There you see Ivan Muller and James Thompson joined together, the two Orica-run Seat Sport drivers, Seat Sport France and Seat Sport UK, and BMW Team UK's man on the top step of the podium. And for British fans, it's three very well-known British drivers. Ivan Muller, the most French British driver I think we have possibly adopted in recent years, but certainly three stars of British touring car racing on the podium. Ivan Muller, the reigning British touring car champion with the Vauxhall team, and James Thompson, the champion before him for Vauxhall, a double British touring car champion. Andy Prio yet to win the British Championship, but he's won the European and the World instead, so I guess that'll do. Andy Prio salutes as the national anthem rings out. His wife Jo there on the right, down in the sunshine in the pit lane with the rest of the RBM crew. David, just a chance while they're enjoying their moment of glory to look a little further down the order. We had Andy Prio and Dirk Muller, the two BMWs, with 4 Seat Leons in the top half dozen. Alex Zanardi in 7th place after a really rumbustious race in his BMW. So we've got Seat and BMW cars, factory entries filling the top 7 places. Behind them, 8th place, Augusto Farfus, 1.5 seconds behind him, the man in red and white there, the top independent Alessandro Balzan in a more than 2-year-old Alfa Romeo. So the Farfus car only just holding off the top independent Alfa at the end of the race. That's some testimony to how quickly Balzan and his DB Motorsport team have got that machine going. That's absolutely stunning.
They've got it really going well, and that's why they got up there. Did a very good time indeed. Their fastest lap time was a 2:03.5. That's half a second slower than Farfus's fastest lap time. You've got to remember, Farfus had a really hard race. It did get bashed, especially at the very beginning, from his teammate, in actual fact, who bashed the back of the car in. So his car probably wasn't in the best possible condition. Balzan obviously kept out of all the trouble. He's seen everything going on ahead of him and just simply drove a very good race, keeping his nose clean, and got an excellent position of 9th. He was 1 place away from being on pole position.
That would have been stunning, wouldn't it? Given another couple of laps. He was quite a far distance away. I think, as you said, Farfus probably backed off at the end. He certainly wasn't 4.5 seconds behind Zanardi going on to the last lap. So he backed off just to guarantee that pole was not in trouble. But, yeah, Balzan there on the far side in the red and white overalls could, with a little bit more luck, have started the race from pole position. We've had independents doing it before, but never with such a strong field of factory cars. There are top 3 overall, and our top independent, Alessandro Balzan. He was 9th. Next independent was Stefano D'Aste's BMW 14th. Luca Rangoni from 28th on the grid after an engine change overnight in the number 30 Pro Team BMW SI, the new shape car. Luca Rangoni was the 3rd independent, so the Pro Team BMW 2nd and 3rd in the Independence Trophy. Simone Iaconi 4th independent in the Zero Cinque Motorsport BMW, the older shape car. 5th in the Independence was the 53 car of Riccardo Romagnoli, Scuderia La Torre, his even older Alfa 156 GTA. That's a European touring car version of the machine. But here in the highlights you can see the Seats, which played such an important role in the grid.
Andy Prio, what a start to the season. The world champion has hit hard. Pole position and victory in race 1 here in Monza.
Yeah, it was fantastic. Very, very pleased. But I made a good start and then a good restart, which really helped me because both Ivan and Tomo were looking very quick in my rear view mirrors. I did pull a gap towards the end of the race, but yeah, it's great to have the first victory for the new car, the E90 BMW, and well done to everybody at BMW Motorsport for building a great car. and RBM, of course.
Last year, 1 victory. This time, you already have that victory. That's also a satisfaction, I guess.
Yeah, and it might be my last, because if we carry on like this, then there's going to be a lot of lead in the car for Manicourt, and that's going to make it very difficult to win. As you can see, it's both Seat, Alfa are very, very fast, and it's going to be a really tough season, but fantastic for the spectators.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So Andy Priaulx happy with that, and as was the case last year, once you get success ballast, it's the devil's job to shift it. Trying to scrape it off your shoes is very, very tricky indeed. Next up, Yvan Muller, our second place driver.
Yvan Muller, a great satisfaction today for the first race here in Monza with second position, and you're a newcomer in WTCC.
Yeah, it's a great result for us. To be honest, before to came in Monza, I didn't expect to be in the top 10 because this circuit is not very good circuit for us. But we work hard, all the team work hard. We did a great qualifying with Tomo when we did the tow together, and that's helped a lot. So when you start on the front, the race is different.
Thank you very much.
So Yvan Muller, as he says, he and James Thompson sacrificed the second free practice in terms of race setup work to concentrate on qualifying tactics, and of course those parlay into the race as well, using the tow so vital here at Monza. Here's his teammate James Thompson.
James Thompson, victory last year here in Monza. This time you're third in a different car. What a battle it was with Muller and all the others.
Yeah, that's right. It was a little bit like last year. I was battling with Dirk for the victory in race 2 last year, so hopefully we can have a similar finish to the weekend as we had last year. But fantastic result for Seat, and as Yvan said, we're a great team effort and a great start to the season.
Thank you very much. Congratulations.
No problem.
Welcome back live to Monza. Hopefully you can hear us. We're having problems with our commentary line, unfortunately, from the studio here in the grandstands at Monza. But as you can quite clearly see, the 10 minutes fixing time or working time on the cars that's between the races is underway. David Leslie, for most cars, wash, brush up, not even the wash probably, but a change of tyres. They'll be using the tyres from the 16 tyre allocation to change around to get some fresh tyres on the front of most of the cars, the front wheel drive cars, and move some slightly less used tyres onto the back to try and give themselves the best car setup. Time maybe also to make a slight change if you haven't got your setup right. Is it worth doing that now at this stage?
It's definitely worth doing a change if you can. The drivers will have been talking to the engineers on the slowing down lap when they're coming in to see what's happening with the cars, because when the cars come into the pits, they go into what's called a part Fermi area, i.e. in front of the garages, they're not allowed to work on them.
Hi, good morning. Welcome to Monza for the first round of the World Touring Car Championship. My name's Andy Priaulx and I'm inviting you to join me for today. Let's go for first free practice session.
So we've been on Andy Prio's shoulder this weekend. At least when he's remembered the keys for the car, at any rate. And Saturday morning means the first action for the World Touring Car Championship, the first of 2 free practice sessions for the BMW Team UK driver.
If it's undrivable, you come in. But you do at least one time lap, And then the car drops off on the last lap. So the lap before you called me in, the car has dropped away on the rear.
Well, free practice 1 was fine. Free practice 2, high drama as an electrical fire inside the car meant that the fire extinguishers went off, and Andy inhaled some of that as well, as the fire, of course, damaging the car. Drama because qualifying was an hour away. The team had to get the car dragged in, get the driver off to the medical centre, and then set to work repairing the damage.
Anyway, luckily, and you need a bit of luck in motor racing, we got the car back to the pits, we repaired it, and we got it running again.
So 3 in the afternoon, pulse rates back down close to normal, time to go qualifying.
Take them both.
The slipstream in the end comes courtesy of the Seat of Ricard Rydell that allows Andy Prio to overhaul Ivan Muller to claim the first pole of the new season. Heading back to the pit lane, Andy congratulated by friends and family.
But Monza's a very special place, and tomorrow to be on pole maybe not be the best thing, but I'm happy with it and I'll take it.
And make the best of it. Pole position for race 1, victory in race 1 for Andy Prio means lining up 8th on the grid for race 2 in the World Touring Car Championship. Everybody starts race 2 as they finished race 1, except the top 8. They are reversed on the grid, one of several factors introduced into the championship regulations from the start to make sure that the fastest cars and drivers don't always just run away into the distance. And David Leslie, that plus the success weight has given us very tense championships over the European Touring Cars and last year's World Touring Car Championship. Deciding the race at the final race of 20 means that the system really seems to be working.
The handicap system works really, really well, and the way it will go on. Andy did mention earlier on that that may be his last win, because at the next race meeting he'll be getting some 60 kilos added to his car, and that will make a big difference to him and to slow him down a little bit, and that gives everybody in this race an opportunity to win.
Welcome back live to the Autodromo Nazionale di Monza, the venue for round 1 and 2 of the 2006 FIA World Touring Car Championship. Round 1, a resounding success for pole sitter Andy Prio, the defending champion, starting the season with a win. Last year, BMW won the opening race of the championship. Alfa Romeo won the second, courtesy of the reversed top 8 effect. James Thompson won the second race for Alfa Romeo from the front row of the grid. Dirk Muller had won the first race for BMW. This year, it's Andy Prio that's won the first race for BMW, and it's Alfa driver Augusto Farfus from 8th in race 1 that will start race 2 from pole position. Will history repeat itself? We'll have to wait and see. Alain Menu getting ready to rejoin. He was in 10th place in race 1. Let's take a look at how the action transpired. Andy Prio started from pole position, the Guernseyman defending his world championship from the best place to start, pole position here at Monza. Would he be leading when the race came to its end? A fiery start into the first corner, Salvatore Tavano damaging his own car as he punted off his teammate And also Colciago's car heavily damaged, bringing out a safety car just 3 laps into the season. Rob Huff among those to make a mistake at the first chicane. Andy Priaulx started and restarted the race superbly, running away to claim victory number 1 of the season. Well, the crowds in the grandstands there by the Variante Ascari, one of the great motor racing vantage points, enjoying beautiful sunny weather here. David Leslie, conditions warm but not too hot, and that means that there shouldn't be any worries about tyre performance for the teams. They'll be well within the window that they know about with these new Advan Yokohama tyres that everybody is using. And again, the control tyre means a nice level playing field, at least as far as one element of the car and competition is concerned.
That's right. It's the first time they've had a whole race on these tyres, so now they'll know a lot more about it in racing conditions. And these guys have to learn very quickly indeed, and that's exactly what they're doing. They've done their tests, they've done race distances on the tyres before, both in the wet and in the dry, but now that's the first time in anger they've had a race on the Advan Yokohama tyres, and I'm sure the Advan people will be very happy with what they've seen out there. Very good times, excellent racing, very close together indeed, and all the people having to learn these new tyres as well, and 1 or 2 having to learn new cars. Yvan Muller and James Thompson both learning new cars, one coming from Alfa Romeo, one coming from Vauxhall in Britain, and moving into Seat, and these 2 having just joined the team actually ended up in front of the guys that had been there previously last year, which is the Rydell, Genet and Peter Turting. Now unfortunately Peter Turting had to start at the back because of blown engine qualifying, but he did come up very well in actual fact. He was in 14th place at the end of that 9-lap race, so he'll be starting to think about maybe trying to get a point in 8th place if possible from his 14th place start on this race.
Yeah, great result for him, making up from 36th to just outside the top dozen. Some fantastic action in terms of overtaking. And you saw the orange Seat Toledo of Tom Coronel, hoping to win the Independence title like he did in 2004 in the European Touring Car Championship. He was runner-up last year, but his campaign didn't get off to a great start here. He dropped down the order from the lead group in the Independence class. The beating heart of Italian motorsport that is the Temple of Speed at Monza in the Royal Park, 25 kilometers north of the industrial city of Milan. This is the Autodromo Nazionale. It is Monza, the home of the Italian Grand Prix, and for this weekend, the venue for the starting races in the 2006 FIA World Touring Car Championship. Race 1 already completed. We are now with the cars on the grid ready for the start of race 2. Martin Haven and David Leslie with you to talk you through the action, and if it's anything like race 1, sit back and pay attention, because there is more going on than you can possibly shake a stick at, including the new Seats looking very strong indeed this season. Andy Priaulx, our race winner, leads the championship points from Yvan Muller and James Thompson, his fellow podium finishers. Dirk Muller, last year's championship runner-up and leader from race 1, there he is. He is in 4th position, starts on the reverse grid then in 5th spot, 2 places, or a row and a half at least, ahead of Andy Priaulx, who will start in 8th place. Dirk looking cool, calm and collected before the start of the race. and trying to figure a way to get through past the front-wheel drive cars in front of him. Among the challenges to Alex Zanardi, to Andy Priaulx, Alex Zanardi, Dirk Muller, Ricard Riedel, Ivan Muller, Augusto Farfus and Alain Menu. But here is the boss.
It's great to be looked at as being the guy to beat, but you know, this is a new season, it's a new car, it's a new challenge for me, and I think it's always nice to have the #1 plate, but it's from the performances of last year, not this year. So we've got to start all over again.
Well, Andy claims the World Touring Car Championship on the streets of Macau in Southeast Asia. He won one race during the season, but consistency and great racecraft helped him and the BMW Team UK effort to the Drivers' World Championship. Only the second man in history to claim that title, and it was his back-to-back touring car win, because in 2004 he and the same team won the European touring car title, both times beating Germany's Dirk Muller. Of course, I'd like to be up front with Team Schnitzer and Team Germany. Now the battle starts again, and of course we'll be fighting as hard as ever to win. Runner-up in the last 2 years behind Andy Priaulx. Has the time come for revenge? His teammate Jörg Muller and the Schnitzer team were runners-up 2 years before that, but they face a 6-strong Seat Leon Armada that is desperately hoping to win one or other of the drivers' or manufacturers' championships.
We're chasing him down. He's like the fox and we're like the hounds.
Chevrolet may not yet be in the championship hunt. It's only their second year of campaigning in the World Touring Car Championship, but they want podiums and they want to score their first win this season. Well, Andy hasn't won the battle yet. I think that the two Mullers, the BMWs, the Seats, it's going to be so competitive, this championship. It's going to be really hard to take the championship. Andy knows that. He is the target, but he is also the man who beat them 2 years in a row. Can he make it a hat-trick and claim his second World Championship title? We'll find out today just how well Andy Priaulx can start his season. One pole, one win so far. Gabriele Tarquini, like all the Italian drivers, has got a huge amount of support here. Last year a factory Alfa driver, now he's a factory Seat driver. And one of his teammates from last year is here. He'll be starting his British Touring Car campaign next weekend for Vauxhall. But Fabrizio Giovanardi has the headsets on as a Eurosport Italia commentator in the booth next door to us. Alex Zanardi with plenty of fans. Giovanardi too as well, despite being in civvies instead of Alfa Romeo red. He's been mobbed in the paddock as he's walked around spectating this weekend. But it's his teammate Augusto Farfus Jr. who starts on pole position, David Leslie, and he really wants to make the most of this. Farfus has been a bit of the whipping boy in the Alfa team for the last couple of seasons. Now he's got a chance to put down a marker as a real World Championship contender. He starts from pole. He's got Alex Zanardi alongside him, 2 of the 6 we know very quick Seats, and he's got a lot of opposition. But in the run-up to the first corner, Farfus versus Zanardi, do you know, I don't know where to put my money.
I've got to put my money with Zanardi, I'm afraid, because the BMW we know starts well, and having watched the first race when Farfus really did get a lot of wheel spin and made a bit of a mess of his start and didn't do as well as the others. The Seats made very good starts, just about as good as what the BMW did. I don't know what they've done to perfect their starts, how many practice starts they've had or how many clutches have worn out doing their starts, but certainly they got it right in the first race. We'll have to wait and see if they can get it right in the second race, because remember, Dirk Muller is 5th on the grid and he'll be trying very hard to be going into that first corner right behind his teammate, one of the BMW teammates is Zanardi. So Farfus Yes, he's had a hard time. Yes, he's caused a lot of accidents, bits and pieces. He's now the man who's left in the Alfa Romeo team. He's the one who's been left over. The others have gone. He's the one who's the stable person. He's the person who's been there last year. And I think Alfa Romeo are looking more to him than to anybody else, even to Gianni Morbidelli, who's very well known in Italy, very well respected racing driver for a long time. He's done touring cars before, because I've raced against him previously in touring cars, but at the end of the day he's new to the Alfa Romeo team this year, and Farfus is the man who really needs to lead that team. He needs to get off this line and make a very good start and try and do what James Thompson did last year and try and win for Alfa Romeo. I think that will be an uphill struggle, and I'm not sure he can do it.
Gabriele Tarquini there in an unfamiliar environment, at least at the moment, the seat of the Seat Leon, and he will start in 4th place, having finished 5th in race 1. Dirk Muller, 4th in race 1, starts 5th on the grid. That's the inside of row 3 on this staggered lineup in the 43 car. Jörg Muller, his teammate, is on the grid, but he is a very long way back after those problems in the first race. So Jörg Muller's bad fortune of 2005 has tracked him through the winter and found him again at the first race of 2006. Jimmy Thompson, Tomo, 3rd in race 1. He lines up in 6th position. 1 row behind him is the race winner, of course, Andy Prio. Ivan Muller was 2nd. He'll line up 7th place on this reverse top 8 grid. And the Seat Leon, introduced in the middle of last year, took its first win in Valencia, the last European race. But boy, oh boy, its first win of 2006 looks like it's going to be very close indeed. Cars flagged away from the grid at Monza for the start of round 2 of 20 of the FIA World Touring Car Championship. Welcome to the Autodromo Nazionale di Monza from wherever you are watching across Europe, the Middle East, the Far East, Asia, Australia, North and South America. This is the home of Italian motorsport, the home of the Italian Grand Prix, and the Italian drivers in the field are hoping to give the crowd a huge boost here, perhaps even with victory in race 2 for Alfa Romeo. The field sweeping around the Autodromo Nazionale di Monza, ready for the start of round 2 of the FIA Touring Car Championship. Ryan Sharp, 18th on the grid, the young Scot who's made his first ever touring car race start of any kind here at World Championship level, as he converts from a nascent single-seater career to become a tin-top star. Well, one of the cars that had trouble in the first race, Jörg Muller, ready to start, 26. Nicola Larini, the Chevrolet alongside him, 25th. But one of the cars that had problems as well will be starting from the pit lane from Emmett O'Brien, the Irish driver. Didn't finish the race on the track, he finished it in the pit lane, and as a result, after problems, he has taken his position by the pit exit, ready to start behind the field in his first ever World Touring Car weekend. Ireland's first World Touring Car driver has had a problem in the first race, but leading the field is Brazil's touring car ace, Augusto Farfus, in the red N Technology Alfa Romeo 156. Will Alfa Romeo produce a new car for next season? Rumour is that the 147 replacement is now starting to look like a more likely candidate than the bigger 159 Saloon as a potential touring car star. And looking at the way that the Seat Leon hatchback is working, you'd have to say that might not be a bad call at all. Are we going to see a touring car field full of 2-box cars instead of the traditional 3-box saloons? Well, the Leon is making that shape work for it. Who knows who else will follow? Alfa Romeo for the moment then with the 156 and with pole position for Augusto Farfus. Alex Zanardi alongside in the BMW. Team boss Monica Sips with one healthy car at the front of the field. An unusual situation for her. Alessandro Balzan, the independent trophy winner, ahead of, look at all these factory cars behind him. There's the second car, Luca Rangoni, Simone Iaconi. They were second and third in the Independence Trophy in their BMWs. But the top Alfa privateer nearly made it onto pole on the reverse grid. One Alfa Romeo, 2 BMWs and 4 Seats in the top 7 cars. It's a very, very impressive effort. 3 BMWs, of course, with Alex Zanardi, Dirk Muller and winner Andy Priaulx. 3 BMWs, 4 Seats and 1 Alfa Romeo in our top 8. Reversed order from race 1. Everybody else starts the race as they finished, with just 10 minutes time to work on cars between the races to perfect setups, repair damage, and for the drivers to take on some vital fluids. The cars are on the grid. The green flag will be waved at the back when they have all made their green spots, grid spots, with the exception of Emmett O'Brien. There's Tom Coronel's orange Seat Holland car. They are ready to go. 1 car in the pit lane, 35 on the grid. 5 seconds to go. The red light will come on, and when it goes off, watch the Alfa Romeo on pole position. Away he goes. A good start from Augusto Farfus. No hint of tyre smoke, and another great start from a Seat. Ricard Rydell looked as though he was almost out dragging Alex Zanardi in the run-up to the first corner. Zanardi's BMW second, Dirk Muller in fourth. Rydell defends against Muller. Then 3 Seats together with Andy Priaulx between them. Then the top independent. Oh, and across the grass, a huge moment across the grass. 24 is Ryan Sharp, the young single-seater star. Missed his braking, obviously didn't have any bit of track he could use and had to shoot across the grass, but he avoided T-boning anybody or damaging his own car, and the rest of it they can sort out later. Farfus leads then from the BMW of Alex Zanardi, and it was the reverse grid in Oschersleben that gave Zanardi a chance to take his first World Touring Car win. David Leslie, could he get his second here? He certainly showed the aggression in race 1 to be able to do it, but how worrying is that? 5 of the 6 factory Seat Leons in the top 10 already. Dirk Muller and Andy Priaulx being swamped. There's red, yellow, green and blue everywhere they look.
That's right, the Seats really are trying to monopolise the front of this race, and Andy Priaulx there coming up, he took a very cautious start. He really went cautiously into that first corner. See what he is. He's getting a little bit of a bump there from Dirk Muller. Dirk obviously doesn't like Andy being there. Of course, he's the works touring car driver for BMW, and he doesn't really like being beaten by the smaller privateer BMW UK team. And you can see that happening on the way up to the Ascari. Just get out of my way, I want to have a go at this one. But Zanardi is the BMW who's got the opportunity to try and win this race. We've seen what happened when he won a race in the European Championship, the World Championship last year. It was just such a fantastic win. Everybody in the pit lane was so pleased.
Smoke from Tarquini's Seat Leon. Maybe he had a bump in the first chicane that we didn't see. James Thompson being tracked by Dirk Muller. They battled for victory last year, but here comes Zanardi. He's got a great toe from the Alfa Romeo. He's got a good run on him. He's going to have to go the long way round. Farfus is no fool. He's not going to give Zanardi the inside line or the lead yet. Looking back from Farfus, there is Zanardi. Look who is third. Ricard Rydell now latched onto the bumper of the BMW Italia Spain effort from Alex Zanardi, car number 4. Rydell and Tarquini, then Thompson, Dirk Muller 6, Andy Preo 7th, Ivan Muller 8th behind him, Hodi Janay 9th, and then Alessandro Balzan, and there's a move on the Alan Menu car from Stefano Daste's privateer BMW, desperate to catch up with the red and white Alfa of Balzan. That's not a factory Alfa there. Well, that one is, but the one in the middle of the Rogia was not a factory Alfa. It's a privateer car, and that is a change for second place. In fact, that's a plate change. No, it is a change for second place. Rydell got through between the Lesmos, past Zanardi. Rydell, of course, the first man to win a race for SEAT last year, and he wants to be the first man to win a race for SEAT this year as well, if he can. Tarquini's tyre smoke seems to have cleared up, though, after the first lap.
Yeah, Tarquini's just in there, he's working well. Here we see a replay, now it's gone. But you can see just how close the rest of these cars are. Nobody is giving away. They're not spreading out. They are nose to tail. There's 30 cars here, all nose to tail as they come out one after the other, coming out of the Ascari chicane to come down this back straight. And Farfus still leading. He's now got Rydell behind him instead of Zanardi. Zanardi's dropped down to third. Tarquini, we can see, is next up. And after that comes with a white
Tomo, that's James Thompson with the white strip. Tarquini's car again smoking, looks from the right rear tyre, left rear tyre, David, the laden side there as he came through the parabolica, and that might be the result of a little biff. Dirk Muller pulling a toe, and Andy Preo going with him. Farfus P1, but look at them, they're all just, this is like classic 1970s Monza slipstreaming racing, isn't it? They really are trying to play the slipstreaming game, and Zanardi goes around the nose of Farfus, he's got him, no! Contact between them. Well, no love lost. Don't forget, Zanardi was going for his first World Touring Car podium in Imola last year when Farfus punted him off in the Acqua Minerale chicane on the very last lap, and that's Preo and Muller, both heavily into the barriers. There was contact between them a couple of laps earlier, and that was definitely a result of contact between them. Both had their front wheels locked straight ahead between. There's no way to get them turning between the two cars, and that is last year's Championship 1 and 2 out of the race. And Andy Preo's great start to the season just took a downturn.
Yes, and you can see Andy saying, well, what's going on here? That wasn't right. But I mean, we've seen that coming together with Dirk and Andy earlier in the race, and also now the front of Thompson's car or somebody's car behind has got a problem, and you can see the two drivers here having a word with each other, obviously very unhappy. First and second in the championship now out. Here we can see what's happening from behind. There's Dirk on the outside, Thompson in the middle, and as they go around, Thompson gets squeezed with the two BMWs either side, and basically they wrap themselves round the SEAT, and the SEAT was the one who came out of it. There you can see on board now.
Tomo was on the inside there, and Muller trying to keep his line without running out too wide. Tomo in the middle, and Andy Preo on the inside line, and the two to Andy's left moved over a little to the right, and 3-1 racing line rarely ever successfully goes. But look at top independent Alessandro Balzan. He's now on the edges of the top half dozen. What a performance. He is right there. Menu and Rob Huff in the Chevrolet Lachettis towing their way up the second group. That's Costa, the Spanish driver, Marcel Costa on the outside, as Alex Zanardi and Gabriele Tarquini battle again for second with Augusto Farfus. Farfus, Brazilian, driving an Italian car. The other two Italians driving a German and a Spanish car. There's a choice for the fans. Which one of the three do you support? The Italian car or one of the Italian drivers? Great racing from them. Then Rydell and Ivan Muller, and Balzan is now sixth. And behind him, the 56 car is Simone Iaconi, third in the Independence Trophy. But Balzan is giving the factory Seat Leons a really good run for their money. That boy, get him in a factory car, give him a contract.
Yeah, he's really making that car work. He knows this circuit inside out. He's doing the Italian Championship as well, and he's trying to get as many points as he can. But you can still see this queue of Seats in 3rd, 4th and 5th place, trying to get to the front, and the other privateer, and further back one of the other BMWs going off again. Across, which one was that? That's the Diasti, one of the privateer ones, and that looked like Jörg Müller coming around the outside of him. Remember, Jörg Müller started right at the back, and he did make a very good start. We've seen that off there, and now he's coming up. He got this Costa with a Spanish BMW with the yellow stripes down the side, and the Chevrolets right behind. But right behind those Chevrolets, Peter Turting and Jörg Müller. So Jörg Müller is now going to get past one of the factory Seats with Peter Turting. Not quite as easy as some of the cars he's come up against so far.
Now Costa, of course, has just come back past Alan Menu. Costa's just repassed Alan Menu, and on the inside, Gabriele Tarquini. Oh, his teammates avoid him by a whisker. Well, Tarquini on the inside line, rubbing up against Zanardi, and just couldn't keep the nose running out wide to match the tail, which was running out wide. Farfus now will lead by almost 1 second. Rydell with Zanardi right behind him. It's going to be another battle on the brakes. Seat of Rydell on the left, to the Zanardi BMW on the right. He's come round. He's got second back again, and the independent is up to 4th place. Alessandro Balzan. Well, I tell you what, if he's only doing the Italian Championship, Tom Coronel's going to breathe a sigh of relief. If he's going to do the entire independent World Touring Car Championship, then that is going to be really tough for Tom Coronel. He is registered for the Italian series, but so are a number like Jens Edmund, the Dane. He's not doing the entire Italian series, he's doing the Danish touring cars. But the independent driver up to 5th, Hodikene 6th, Thompson, Costa back ahead of Menu, Tarquini now between Menu and Huff is where he rejoined after that lurid spin right in the middle of the Parabolica. And somebody's gone off on the exit of the Roggia further back. That was Huff turting Jörg Müller territory. Jörg still there ahead of Simone D'Aste. But goodness me, off, and a big snap off the line from Hodikene. He ran very wide over the curbs. The red windscreen strip on the Seat is Hodikene just held it as the rear wheels dropped off the curbs into the gravel, exiting the Lesmo, but he's lost ground. He's being chased down by Costa behind this battle. Well, there is definitely a chance now, you sense, for the Alfa Romeo to just creep away. David, he's not going to run away. He got 100th extra lead, and that's a BMW. Is that Costa? It is. I think that's Costa gone off there.
In the background, right in the chicane, the tractor's off to get out of there very quickly. But Farfus has got himself a little bit of breathing space, not very much, but there is a breathing space there nonetheless. And right behind him, Zanardi and Rydell, Balzan and Ivan Müller.
Balzan's got past Müller. Balzan has passed Ivan Müller, the man who nearly had pole. He's now up to 4th place across the line. Ivan Müller, Hodi Genet, Alan Menu and Rob Huff all over the back of Genet. Then Turting, Tarquini, Jörg Müller ahead of Stefano D'Aste. Oh, and Balzan is just having the race of his career. What a performance that guy is putting in. Absolutely superb effort from Alessandro Balzan. If we don't see him on the podium outright, I'm going to be quite surprised. Around the outside he goes of Rickard Rydell. This is for a podium place, but 3rd overall. Never mind winning the Independence Trophy. He's got the line. Rydell tries to fight it. No dice, and Rydell might lose out to Ivan Müller, and he's going to. Müller's got alongside on the run up towards the first Lesmo, and he's got to take that. Rydell has to let him through or he'll go off, and so he does. And Jörg Müller again. Oh, Jörg, what has gone on? He's been spun around there in his battle with Stefano D'Aste, trying to battle with D'Aste and Gabriele Tarquini. And goodness me, where are the Chevys now? 7th and 8th, Menu and Huff.
That's a good for the Chevrolet people, because they came here knowing this is very definitely the worst possible circuit they could go to all year long, and for them just to score points will be a major contribution this weekend, and that's where we are at the moment, scoring 7th and 8th.
replay in the Rogia, and it was Stefano D'Aste who got into the back, the side, the something of Jürgen Müller. The two BMWs spun round, and just as we were going to that shot again, Jordi Genet running out of road, this time on the exit to Ascari, bouncing across the David Coulthard-Williams crash spot there from many years ago in Formula One. And still Alfa Romeo's first and third. This man in third place, the red and white Alfa, I remind you, is not a year-old car. It's a 2-year-old at best Alfa Romeo 156 GTA, not the 156 S2000. Oh, and he nearly backs it in. And at the same time, Zanardi again challenging. Zanardi closes so much on that long straight when he just is close enough to get the toe. He was only 0.3 behind Farfus on that lap across the line. That's enough for a toe. But Baltzan, hats off, he is just doing a stunning job. They're on lap 7 of 9, David. Can he hang on ahead of these increasingly desperate looking Seats now? Ivan Müller is not going to allow Ricard Rydell through if he can help it, but he wants to get past Baltzan, and that puts him in a tricky situation. He's got the inside run. I think Baltzan may perhaps have just missed a gear or something there, because he suddenly dramatically was with Ivan Müller alongside him. Now he comes back on the exit of the Lesmo and into Lesmo 2. But he's now in the battle again, in the thick of it. All these top 8 cars have got a really good chance.
And the two Chevrolets now managed to get past Jordi Genet as well. So they've both moved up one place, and Genet's moved back to the back of this group. And this is a group you can see from first all the way back to 7th, 8th, all in a row, one after the other. So it just shows you how close this World Championship is. We said at the beginning, nobody's going to walk away with it. We've seen already the winner of the first race go out, so he doesn't score any points in this race. And all of a sudden, you know, the guys who weren't there are now there at the front. And it's a real turnaround from what happened in the first race.
And behind this group, we can see Terting and Tarquini Seats 9th and 10th. Then second independent Simone Iaccone's BMW ahead of James Thompson.
Yeah, James Thompson seemed to have had some problems after that coming together, sandwiching with the two BMWs when the two BMWs went off. That, I think, must have upset the car or damaged something on the car, and that really has made a big difference to it. But going off with a bit of that's the BMW you're talking about.
That's Iacone.
Trying too hard on the exit of the last corner and getting onto the gravel on the outside. And oh, he's locked that Alfa Romeo up again. Can he make it? No. He's been touched by the Seat this time, and Zanardi, that looks as he bent that front suspension. That looks like that could be terminal for the Zanardi. I'm not sure. They touched as well when they went into the corner. Yes, it is. That front suspension's broken. Right-hand front corner on Zanardi. That's Zanardi's race finished with only 2 laps to go. He's out, and that's given Farfus just a little bit of breathing space. I don't know what damage, if any, he's done to it, but look at that front wheel of that BMW. Fairly soon, he's not going to be able to get round a corner. It is permanently broken. The track control arm's broken, and if he can hang on to that, I don't think the tyre will burst. Something will go wrong.
But look behind, how hard everybody's pushing. You just saw, I think that was Larini bouncing over the curbs in the Chevy. Behind, the battle under braking is just as intense. Little assistance there to push Baltzan out from, I guess that was Ivan Müller or Ricard Rydell. Monica Sips now can see victory coming the way of Augusto Farfus as Zanardi's car went by the board there. Ivan Müller second, Ricard Rydell third. Another 2 sets on the podium, but look at this, desperately close to the podium. Menu and Huff, they want podiums this year. To get one at the first round would be an incredible boost for the Chevrolet team and for the RML crew. And they've now pushed Alessandro Baltzan behind them. He's in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th place, but being caught by Jordi Genet
and we know how many cars started this. We know there's more BMWs than anything else started this race. And look at the front. There's not one in sight. There's an Alfa Romeo leading, Seat second and third, Chevrolet's 4th and 5th. That is just phenomenal, because that whole team didn't believe they could do very much at all here this weekend at Monza, being such a fast straight circuit. But look at that car, a little bit of help at the end of last year from the organisers, slightly bigger higher compression ratio and bigger valves, and they are really quite close. Once this car gets to the twistier, tighter circuits, they know the car's good at handling. The drivers are very pleased with it. They're all over the back of that Seat there.
And that was Menu going for third place. He was trying to pass Rickard Rydell for the podium into the first corner on this last lap. Farfus' flapping wing is not going to affect him. He is just about far enough away. He's going to have to back it off somewhere to give Ivan Muller the win, but here comes Menu! That's a great lunge up the inside. That's touring car racing, and Rob Huff trying to get through as well. Rydell is spun out. Huff is held up behind him. He goes into the gravel. That's a shame, because that was such a great move by Alain Menu. I don't think Rickard Rydell was expecting it any more than I was. Ivan Muller's second, and he's still holding out a hope of getting past. Great move by Menu, clean, and Huff just had to go through the half-open door, but look, it's let the independent through, and it's let Johnny Genet go through as well. So Huff trots down the order, so too does Rydell. But the best ever result in a race by Chevrolet has been a fourth place, and they are now going for their first podium. Look at this car, it's been in the wars, hasn't it? Wing hanging off on one side, door panel thoroughly rubbed off by tyres on the other side. Third of a lap to go. Farfus, a third of a lap away from his second ever World Touring Car race. He won for the first time in Macau. He could win here in Italy at Monza. It's the last corner. The last corner of the last lap of race 2 of the World Touring Car Championship. Augusto Farfus heads out of it to the flag. It's victory for Farfus and Alfa Romeo. Ivan Muller gets second again. 2 second places will make him the championship leader after the opening race on his World Championship debut. Alain Menu, a first podium for Chevrolet. Alessandro Balzan doesn't get on the overall podium, but 4th for the independent winner, 5th for Johnny Genet, 6th for Gabriele Tarquini's Seat, 7th for Nicola Larini's Alfa Chevrolet. Eric Neve there looking very happy indeed. And did I see Ray Mallock smile? I may have done.
It's not very often, but now and again he does.
Fantastic, what a race weekend of great results. Not consistent great results for everybody, but I don't think we're going to see that all year. Look at the tape on the back of the car now of Farfus, because that was dinged up in the air by one of his teammates in the first corner. He was looking down the nose at the tarmac in danger of rolling in race 1, and here he is, the winner of race 2, and Ivan Muller, the championship leader with 2 second places. Andy Prio wins and does not score. Farfus, the winner in race 1, in race 2, but only 8th in race 1, and 2 second places for Ivan Muller. What a great race weekend for the Frenchman.
And you have to wonder what happened to BMW. There was more BMW starters than anybody else, and yet the highest BMW finisher, 11th, and that was a privateer, Ricconi. And just the rest of them, I don't know, they wiped each other out. I don't know what happened. We've seen a couple run into each other when they got to one of the chicanes, and we've seen first and second of the championship last year going off after trying to sandwich Rickard Rydell in the middle.
Simone Iaconi, the second of the independents, 11th overall. Tom Coronel, third in the independent category, ahead of Ryan Sharp, fourth in the independents in his second World Touring Car race. And Emmett O'Brien from the pit lane, 15th overall and 5th in the independents trophy. Great result from both those 2 young drivers. Well, Rickard Rydell's race finishes here at Monza at the Roggia. He will not take the finish, and that's a big disappointment, a big shame for the Swede, because he did look like a podium finisher, but do you know what, David? So did every single car in that shot. Tom Coronel's been in the wars as well there, hasn't he? And behind the yellow and blue Munro Yasport Honda, that is Ryan Sharp. just out of the top 3 in the Independence Trophy. The man's never raced a touring car in his life before, never raced a front-wheel drive car, and he said the only time he's ever been on a racetrack in a front-wheel drive car was on his ARDS test, his compulsory racing driver's test, when he was being taught the way around by the instructor. So that's not a bad World Touring Car debut for him either.
It's a big difference because that was at Knock Hill. That's one of the shortest tighter circuits you can get, and here we are at Monza, one of the fastest, longest circuits he's going to be on in his touring car career.
Alessandro Balzan then, the Independence Trophy winner. There he is in the red and white Alfa Romeo, and what a weekend for Alessandro Balzan and his team. The DB Motorsport crew must be absolutely thrilled with that. Unfortunately, the second car of Elio Marchetti was out of race 1 very early on, but look at this. He won his first World Touring Car race at the last gasp last year, Augusto Farfus, in the last race weekend. Now he gets one in the first race weekend. You sense, I think, perhaps that the desperation, the mistakes may have gone, and now he really knows what he's doing. And Ivan Muller, reigning British champion, leads the World Championship from the first race weekend in the Seat Leon. What a great result for Seat. What a great result as well for Ivan Muller. Tough luck in the second race for so many, for Dirk Muller, for Andy Priaulx, for that man Ricard Rydell, but Alain Menu as well, and the Chevrolet team. There's Menu at the back. He'll be delighted with that, as will all the Chevrolet operation. Target for year 2, get on the podium. First race weekend of year 2, on the podium it is. But I tell you what, David, apart from Ivan Muller, the podium is entirely different, and apart from Ivan Muller and a couple of the others, the top 8 point scorers are almost entirely different. Scoring points alone this year is going to be a consistent nightmare for all of these drivers. It's going to be so tough. Well, my maths is wrong. Ivan Muller second overall. Augusto Farfus, the points leader. Alain Menu third in the points. Oh no, that's not their points. That's their race numbers, Martin. You fool! I think Ivan Muller with 2 second places will be the points leader. So there is the result then. Rob Huff 12th after that spin, unfortunately. Otherwise, he could have been in the top 4 or 5 also for the Chevrolet team. And some great efforts from the young drivers. Ryan Sharp, Emmett O'Brien from Scotland and from Ireland, 14th and 15th, 4th and 5th in the Independence Trophy. Some good efforts from them. And they're in it for the season, like Tom Coronel. So we should expect to see lots more entertainment from them. Hugues de Schonack looking very pleased with that as well. He should. Jaime Puig as well, beaming all over his face. We've seen the same from the Chevrolet team, and a smile of relief or two from Monica Sips as well, as Augusto Farfus wins in Monza for Alfa Romeo. And that brings the afternoon's entertainment for the fans to a close. We'll be back after the break to hear from our top 3 and to see them on the podium. Stay with us, please, live on Eurosport when we return to Monza after these words. Crowds thronging the track here at Monza, heading up to the podium, and the drivers who were first, second and third here heading into the press room, and we'll be able to hear from our race winner now, Augusto Farfus Jr.
Now, Augusto Farfus, what a fantastic race out there. You started in pole position and you hung on to your leadership all the way to the finish line. Great satisfaction.
Yes, first of all, I have to say thanks for all the team guys, because after the first race, my car was pretty damaged, and they did a really good job, and I started in pole. And it was hard. I did a quite good fight with Alex. Unfortunately, I don't know what happened with him, but after the crash with him, I just managed my gap between the last Seat, so I'm very happy.
You're a very young driver, and you were battling with a very experienced driver, Alex Zanardi, and you proved that you were the wisest, the one with the experience.
Yes, after my 2 seasons with Giovanardi and Tarquin, I learned a lot with them. I grew up quite fast in the past. So this year I feel ready. Also, if I have a little bit old car, but the team are very strong, and we want the title. It's too early to say that we're gonna fight, but this is our objective.
Thank you very much. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well, I think perhaps we might look back and say, is it here or was it in Macau when he actually got his first win that he really started to come of age as a touring car driver? But there were so many incidents there, or potential incidents with Alex Zanardi, where it could all have gone horribly wrong, and in the end they had a really close mirror-to-mirror race, David Leslie, and just both managed about to keep it on the island. Farfus ended up the winner. Ivan Muller, after a hard fight, took second.
Johan Muller, second again after race one, but you're the overall leader of the championship. Were you expecting that for your first season in WTCC?
No, for sure, I didn't expect that. Even if the team do a great job and work very, very hard. No, it's a great result. You know, the second race, there is a part of luck as well, because it was so many crash, and to avoid all that crash was pretty hard. So yeah, I was quick and a little bit lucky.
A great satisfaction for Seat, especially on a fast track like Monza.
Yeah, for sure. It's a bit surprising for us to be as quick of the other cars in the straight here. Yeah, we will see the next round if it's the same. It's a bit strange.
Thank you very much. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, with all the incidents and action, he must have felt like it was being back home at the British Touring Car Championship. Ivan Muller, though, the championship leader on his World Touring Car debut with 2 second places. Very strong indeed on this ultra-high-speed Monza circuit. I think we're going to fear the Leons when we get to the tighter, twistier stuff. And in third place, we should start to fear the Chevrolets as well. Alain Menu on the podium for the first time for Chevrolet.
Alain Menu, a great satisfaction for you as well. You were struggling during pre-practice and qualification, so this third position must be a very big satisfaction.
Yeah, for sure, it was unexpected to finish third, but it's great for Chevrolet and the whole team. I mean, they worked so hard from Macau to get us in that position, and for sure, yeah, free practice I had some problems. Also in qualifying, I didn't get the best out of the car. But then I had 2 good races, and obviously a bit of luck with what happened at the front. But then the last lap move on Ricard was okay, limit, but you know, had to try. So yeah, great result for us, for Chevrolet.
A word on that battle with Ricard Rydell. You were trying to overtake. Robert Hoff was just behind, and you finally made the best of your experience, probably.
Yeah, no, but you know, I mean, I know Ricard, and he's a friend. Yeah, he's a top guy and a top driver, and you know, but I had to try. And then what happened when I went through between him and Robert, I don't know. Yeah, so.
Thank you very much. Congratulations.
Cheers. Thank you.
Well, I don't think any friendship will be lost at all between Alain Menu and Ricard Rydell. Menu got through, I don't know how, but he got through clean, and as he says, it was behind Rob Huff that tried to follow through the same gap. There just wasn't enough room. But for Chevrolet, well, the first podium, David Leslie, a very, very important day indeed for their nascent programme. Year 2, race weekend number 1, they're on the podium. Seat, when they came in their second year, they were aiming for podiums, and they started to get them, and then got their first win, and now look at them. They are leading the championship, and they are looking at the title as their target for this year. They certainly don't lack ambition, neither do the Chevrolet Racing boys. They will be looking for wins this year. Now the first podium is done, that's it. We can do podiums, now we must try and do wins.
And there we are, that's Alain Menu bouncing up onto that podium. He really wanted to be there, wasn't expecting to be there for this particular race, but yes, they've got their targets. They want to have 1 win before the end of this season, but it's a very good start to be up there. But what is really big news this weekend is the Seat. They want to win this championship. You can see from their driver lineup, 6 absolutely top-class international drivers driving their cars. Here's one of the new guys, Ivan Muller, come from the British Touring Car Championship, and run by this man here, Hugh de Chaunac. And what a fantastic start to his World Championship aspirations. 2 second places, putting him on top of the championship. before at the end of the very first meeting, so he's really going to be tickled pink. What is missing off that top step is BMW. What is there and was there last year is Alfa Romeo. Last year it was James Thompson in an Alfa Romeo who won the second race. This year it's Augusto Farfus. He did a really great job. I didn't think at the beginning of the race he could do it. I thought he'd be beaten off the line by the BMW. He wasn't. He made a really good start into the first corner first. He held off really hard charge attack by Zanardi all the way through.
Not one factory entered BMW, finished the race. All 5 went out. Dirk Muller and Andy Priaulx together. Jörg Muller we saw go out. Costa went off as well in the Lesmos. And in the end, Zanardi broke his suspension trying to take the lead from that young man there, Augusto Farfus. So a tough second race for the BMWs, but a great race for Alfa Romeo and for Farfus. Augusto Farfus for Alfa Romeo, Ivan Muller, the championship leader for Seat, and Alain Menu for the first time for Chevrolet on the podium. And 4th overall, Alessandro Balzan, the top independent again in race 2 of the FIA World Touring Car Championship at Monza. As we leave, a newcomer to the series in a Seat is our championship leader, Ivan Muller. And so that is it then from race weekend number 1 of 10. 18 more races to go, countless more hours of testing, preparation, planning and perspiration, and 18 World Touring Car races before we decide our champion. Ivan Muller, a newcomer to the championship, is our points leader with 2 well-taken second places, and Augusto Farfus Jr., well, he said it himself, he has grown up as a touring car driver. He has now surely come of age. First win of the season for him in race number 2. He kept cool, calm and collected under all sorts of pressure from very well-known international touring car champions, and he held on to win it for Alfa Romeo in an unfactory funded car. So Monica Sips down there, and Mauro Sips, her husband, the boss of the N Technology group that runs these cars for Alfa Romeo and has done for many years. Very, very happy, I'm sure, to come away from Monza with that victory. And there, well, he could have been on the top 3 steps on the podium. As it was, he was 4th, our top independent, Alessandro Balzan. Fantastic race weekend for him. Just scorching pace, as quick as any factory car out there, and quite prepared to swap paint with all of the heroes as well, and really kept the crowd on their feet. He and Augusto Farfus have thrilled the Italian crowd all the way through here. Tough weekend in the end for BMW. Andy Priaulx claimed the first race win of the new campaign to defend his championship, but Dirk Muller and Jörg Muller struggled a little in the race. Jörg Muller had 2 awful races. Dirk Muller at least got points in the first race, but none for him or Andy Priaulx, last year's and the year before's championship top 2. And so it's new faces, new manufacturers, new names on the podium and atop the championship points as we head to the second round of the series, which will be at the home of the French Grand Prix at Magny-Cours. And don't forget, you can see not only the qualifying live on Saturday afternoon, but also the morning warm-up live, and both races live on Eurosport International. And for Eurosport 2 viewers from Magny-Cours as well, we'll be bringing you plenty of extra action from the touring cars and the support races. So from Monza then, from David Leslie and from me, Martin Haven, until the next time at Magny-Cours, bye for now.